Good day. Welcome to the American Security Council Foundation Peace Through Strength podcast. I'm Laurence Sanford, Senior Analyst with the American Security Council Foundation. And today's topic is the Ukraine war, which is China's proxy war. In other words, if China did not support Russia in this war, the war would end tomorrow. China is subsidizing the Soviet Union through its millions and millions of dollars worth of oil to fund the Russian military. China is providing Russia with military technology that allows these drone attacks if they didn't have the Chinese equipments, so-called civilian equipments, and military hardware. The war would end tomorrow. And China is using this war as a proxy to weaken the NATO and to divert America from investing more in the Pacific theater, where China is very aggressive in the South China Sea and in actually the Yellow Sea. They're becoming aggressive in all areas around its mainland, from South Korea to Japan to the Philippines. And one of the aspects that this war has changed ground warfare forever are drones. And we have the situation where it could be the Russians, by mistake, sent the drones over Poland. It could be that the Ukrainians diverted Russian drones from Ukraine to Poland. Could be. Really doesn't matter. What really matters is the fact that Russia is using drones to intimidate the West and to harm Ukraine. And the only way you can deal with a thug like Putin is through strength. The motto of American Security Council is peace through strength. And thugs do not respect niceties. And the way to stop the war, unless China does, is to make sure Ukraine is militarily and economically strong enough to damage Russia. So we should start providing Ukraine with military equipment and missiles to hit Russia. If Russia can attack Ukrainian soil, why can't Ukraine attack Russian soil? Reciprocity should be the foundation of all our foreign policies, and Ukraine is being attacked by Russia, then Ukraine should attack Russia when it's able to do that. One of the other last things I'd bring up is the domino theory. As a Vietnam War veteran, I'm quite familiar with the domino theory as to why we were in Vietnam, to stop the spread of communism. After communism had taken over China, had taken over Cuba, and they were in process of taking over South Vietnam. I'm quite familiar with that, and it was discredited because after blood and treasure of 50,000 American men and women dying in Vietnam, America still lost the war. So the domino theory was discredited. But one could argue that one of the positives was it gave local governments, like in the Philippines, Thailand, and other areas, Singapore, Malaysia, time to regroup against the communist insurgencies that were going on during Vietnam. In the Philippines, you had the hooks. In Malaysia, they had a communist insurgency group. So there were insurgencies going on all over the place. And by the end of the Vietnam War, most of those insurgencies had died out. But the domino theory still has some practicality to it, that if you look at World War II, it began when Hitler started seizing property in Czechoslovakia, land in Czechoslovakia, and then Poland in conjunction with the Soviet Union. So if you start taking pieces of land from other countries, it has an effect of spreading. The old dominoes of the first one goes, then they just start falling in place. And so if Russia is successful in Ukraine, you can anticipate the Baltic states will be next, and Finland and Sweden are prime candidates for Russian aggression in there, and any country that has any kind of Soviet or Russian population is in danger, and that includes Kazakhstan and some other countries. So the answer to this whole scenario is we should be peace through strength. We should beef up our militaries. Western civilization has to unite against this threat, and that keep in mind that defensive actions never win a war. They can cause you to lose a war, but you cannot win a war strictly through defense. So you have to be proactive. And last but not least, we should have strong alliances. We should work with our allies. And this tariff war that we're imposing on our allies doesn't make any sense to me. We should have strong tariffs against our enemies, such as Russia and China, but we certainly shouldn't be jerking around with Japan and India, for example, on tariffs that drive the American businesses and prestige downward. So the way to identify our friends from foes is actions and not words. So with that, I would close with peace through strength. Let's arm Ukraine to make sure they win. Good day.